Do you know the biggest reason why people are finding their businesses are being suspended in Google at the moment? And it's also one of the same reasons why businesses aren't being found on Google Maps themselves. In fact, there's been a lot of confusion about this over the last few years. And you know who's behind the confusion? Google themselves. And this is still the biggest misunderstood area of Google My Business, or Google Business Profile. Even more confusion caused with the change of name recently. But I'm going to get this cleared up once and for all so that you fully understand what's going on and why it is your business sometimes isn't showing, or you're totally innocently suddenly suspended. And you know, most of it's all down to whether or not you hid your address when you registered your business. Owners are getting it wrong, according to Google, and suddenly being suspended, and then Google gives no clue as to why you've been suspended. And I know because it's currently happening to one of my clients, and I'm videoing the process, and of course that'll be a video that'll be on this channel very soon, and you won't want to miss it. So how's this video going to work? Well, there are 3 issues you need to be aware of first of all when it comes to your address on Google Business Profile. And there's also one thing you must do after hiding your address. So just to say, this video is not for those that have a shop front on a high street. If you have clear signage and people can walk off the streets into your business and you can meet them face to face, well then most of this video isn't going to apply to you, because Google does want that type of business showing on Google Maps, showing their address. But you know, the majority of businesses are services or go out to customers and don't have a shop front for people to walk off the streets to. So let's check out those 3 issues and the one thing you need to make sure you do straight afterwards, and also 3 tips are going to make sure that your Google profile avoids suspension in the future. So issue number 1 is that Google messed up. When you first used to register your business with Google My Business, as it was then, you just gave your address. The reason being was that they wanted to make sure it's an authentic area. But there was no clear importance on whether or not your business was on the high street itself with a shop front and signage. Although you could state whether or not you wanted to show your business address, Google was never that clear as to where services and shops actually overlap. And in fact, since then, they've made a hybrid area where it recognises that there is somewhere between the two, where you have products and at the same time you do serve customers, but you also go out to customers. So a few updates since then, and now that's been fixed. But unfortunately, majority of the businesses that are registered haven't made the retrospective changes that Google's after. And what Google in effect's doing is suspending businesses, so the Google business profiles have to then reassess why they've registered their address. In fact, Google's even forcing businesses to show photos of the shop front to prove that they are registered as a business on a high street. So as you can see here from a recent survey that I produced on our channel, you notice that 20% have shops, but 80% in effect have a struggle to know what's best to do. So 77% for a service and 3% just not sure. And that's where the confusion is that the majority of Google Maps, Google Business Profile is aimed at shops, but actually the majority of businesses that register with Google Business Profile are actually services. From these types of estimates, this is in the UK, that in 2017 it was estimated 404,000 businesses or local units were registered in postcodes in the immediate vicinity of the high street itself. So that's just 13% of the businesses in the UK. So that implies there's 87% that are businesses but that aren't actually on the high street. So I think it's fair to say that probably 4 out of 5 businesses shouldn't be showing their address on Google Business Profile, or they're hybrid and they can show it, but there's a confusion over it. And that's why I made this video. Now the second issue is just random customers. Random customers turning up at people's houses. Why? Well, because people registering 24-hour day, so they said we're open 24 hours, but it was from their home address. So 3 in the morning, someone turns up and says, can you clean my windows? Well, of course, no one's going to want to open the door to someone 3 in the morning. So again, there's confusion because Google made it really easy to register 24 hours of business times and to put your address on a map. And so this is where the confusion was. Random customers turning up, people complaining, and so Google had to address it. Now, before I talk about issue 3, which is to do with lower rankings, if you do go down this avenue, if this video has given you any value, then give it a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video too. So, issue 3, lower rankings. This is the concern. This is why people aren't keen to do this, is because as soon as you take your PIN out of Google Maps, which I'll show you how to do that in a moment, as soon as you get rid of your address, Google starts to give you lower rankings, because that's the way Google's worked. Google's worked always on the vicinity. So if I'm searching and I'm sat here, then people that have got their pins nearer to me are more likely to rank if I search for their particular business. But if you don't have your address showing, which means that you're not pinned on Google Maps itself, you then end up covering a service area. And it's much more vaguer, it's much more diluted, the area you cover. And Google, as much as it's trying to get the two balanced out correctly, if someone is near me and they have their address, so they're on the high street, they're going to rank a lot higher than a service that may even be nearer than me, may even be nearer to me than that business on the high street, but because the PIN itself isn't shown, it's unlikely to rank as high. This is a real problem Google's wrangling with at the moment, and it's the reason why most people don't take their PIN or their address off Google Maps. So no address typically means lower rankings, unfortunately. Now let me know if you've had similar issues to those three that I've just mentioned in the comments below. But now I'm going to come on to some top tips that you need as well, that are going to help you. So if you do decide to take your address off to avoid that suspension, well then these are the types of things that you can do that are going to help you. So here's the first thing. Before you hide it, you need to just be familiar with the three areas that businesses now fall into. So there's the shop, there's a service, but there's also the hybrid area. So let's just define that. A service area is a business that visits or delivers to customers directly, but doesn't serve customers at its business address. For example, a plumber or a cleaning service. But what about a hybrid area? A business that serves customers at its business address and also directly visits or delivers to customers. For example, a restaurant that also delivers food. So these two types of businesses, they differ quite dramatically from the bricks and mortar high street shops that Google Maps originally was supporting. So if you choose to hide your business address today, then you'll be grouped as either a service area or a hybrid area. So hopefully that makes some sense. And of course, if it doesn't, then put a question down below and I'll try and answer it for you. So at this point, how do you go onto Google and remove your address? What's the best way to do that? Well, I'll show you how to do that because I'll dive on the computer now. So the first thing you need to do is find your business and then you go to Edit Profile, click on Edit Profile, and you're just now wanting to locate your business information. So click on there and then click on Location. Now, if you've already got your address there, you'll notice there's a new button here which you can switch off. In the past, you used to have to go into your address and delete all this and then click Save, whereas now you can just turn this off. Before you do that, if you did want to keep the address, then you can also adjust the accuracy on the map. So just to bear that in mind as well, if you wanted to make sure it's actually clearly marked on the map, you can do that too. But anyway, instead of deleting all this, we're going to get rid of the business, make sure it doesn't actually show on the map. This is still registered with Google, it just means that it won't show on your profile. So if I click that, that now has gone, and obviously click Save. But there is something else you must do now you've removed your address, and we'll jump back on the computer now and show you the importance of setting your location so that you still get found in the rankings for your business. And you need to then make sure that your areas set instead. So we mentioned about the importance of areas. Now, to know what areas to set, you may want to just go to Google Maps, see where it is that you currently are, and then perhaps look at some of the surrounding areas that you want to cover as well. So I'm going to kind of cover the Aberdeen area here. So what you do is you then type in various areas that you want to cover. So whereas before this used to be done by drawing an area, this is now done purely by entering a village or a town. And you're just building these up and then click Save. So you're just trying to say, like, I serve this area, but remember, it's not a national SEO, search engine optimization. This is local SEO. Local search engine optimization. So it should be people that are still close by because this is for local search. Now I'm just going to give you a third tip as well. And this is just about knowing what the competition's doing too. So if you have one of these situations that's quite unique to your business, do a search and see if the people coming up for your type of business category, if it shows directions on the results, that means that their PIN is still on the map. That means they are still registered as a shop or as a storefront or as a place that you can go to with signage. And if that's the case, then you may still be able to register it as a shop, which is going to be an advantage for local SEO. But if none of them have got directions, or very few have, you'll probably find the top 1 or 2 that are ranking at the moment still have directions on. Well, it's likely that they will at some point be suspended for that, because Google will see that their category should be registered as a service or hybrid. It's hard to say because every business has its own circumstances, but you can get a flavour of what Google's doing based on looking at your competition and seeing how they rank too. But the problem is sometimes even doing all the right things, Google still suspends some innocent businesses for doing nothing. And the most frustrating thing is that Google never tells you what it is that they've suspended your business for. And you just have to go through all of the possible violations that they suggest, and then you just have to go along and keep asking to be looked at, to be reviewed. And that can take days, if not weeks. Well, I've put together a little video, 5 quick tips as to what that may well be the reason why you've been suspended. So these are the 5 most common areas to look at. And then that'll make sure that you're future-proofed, ready just in case one day you have that horrible situation of seeing your business being suspended. So if you want to be more aware of what you can do, then you need to look at this video now, and that's going to really help you make sure that you don't get caught out.